Hey everybody, Michael Snyder, Pacific Northwest Weather Watch. Today is April 25th, and right now we're looking at the infrared satellite imagery. You can see this storm taking a formation off the coast of California. Most of this energy is headed to California, but some of these storms are going to be spreading back up across Oregon. We're going to take a detailed look at that. We're going to see what is to come this weekend, next week, and the following weekend here as well as we go through the video here this morning. So you can see that some places like BC and Washington are doing pretty well. Some high-level clouds streaming across the area, but look at Oregon, much more cloud covered here. And this is where the thunderstorms are going to be developing here today and for portions of Idaho as well over the next couple days. But in the meantime, you can kind of see the snow-capped mountains out there, the Rocky Mountains. You can see Mount Rainier underneath some of the high clouds out there as well. And all the way down off the California coast is where that next storm system is driving down. Now, taking a look here, Rainier Aviation live stream here. So you're viewing SeaTac and Mount Rainier in the background. You can see Alaska Airlines taking off there. You don't see any lenticular clouds right now, but yeah, I had an email from this person here, just started this YouTube channel. So go ahead and check it out if you would. I'll click thumbs up on that and it'll give me a heads up on the lenticular cloud activity. You can see the SeaTac tower off to the left there as well. So taking a look at SeaTac yesterday, officially 72 degrees. We're headed probably back into the 70s here again today. So quite some nice days here, probably today and not too bad tomorrow as well for a lot of BC and Washington. However, portions of Oregon, it's a little bit of a different story, as I mentioned. And taking a look at the lightning strikes over the last 24 hours, there has been some activity here across southwest Oregon as well. The models did pretty good picking up on that, and across portions of Idaho as well, and especially eastern Idaho up towards the Wyoming border. And speaking of lightning detection systems here, for an affordable price, this station is extremely fun here. You can see all the stuff that it does: solar powered lightning detection system, haptic rain gauge, ultrasonic anemometer. Very fun. Click on the link down below if you want to save 10% off on one of those. Now looking at the European model, 18,000 feet, 500 millibars. So you can see how over the last few days, this storm has definitely been trending south into the state of California, and again, including portions of Oregon. So then what happens after that? We go through a bit of a transient ridge here as we go through Monday, and then this little wrinkle there, this little blurb, that's going to bring a frontal system as we go through the day on Tuesday. Then we're going to be doing pretty nicely here across the region, if you like nice weather anyway, and you like things to calm back down as we go on in through the day Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday of next week. But there's another system that's probably coming towards next week, and I'll show you that here in a moment. So if we take a look here at the European model, last night trying to put that into motion, you can really see, I mean, the huge difference between what Washington and Oregon is getting. This is probably going to be thunderstorm activity off and on. There could be some erratic outflow winds from these storms, some southerlies running back in and northerlies, interesting wind shifts out there, blowing dust, and some of southern Idaho is going to be in on that action as well. And we scroll on in through the day on Saturday. You can see again kind of a repeat here for portions of Oregon, mainly central southern Oregon though. And then as we go on in through Sunday night into Monday, you see that low pressure center kicking off to the east. But then we look off to the north and west as next frontal system is in store for western BC as we go through the day on Monday. Then it starts dropping down as we go through Monday night into Tuesday here for some of western Washington, spreads across the region. There you can see some snow for the higher terrain at times of the Rocky Mountains. It didn't show too much for the Cascades if I toggle back and forth, but then we go off in towards Wednesday. It looks like a fairly nice day here across the region. Thursday probably again, and then another system looms out there probably for the following weekend. So looking at the high resolution rapid refresh, I'm going to put this into motion, and you can see these thunderstorms really get ramped up here as we go, what is that, about 2, 3, 4, 5 p.m. right there. You can see again kind of the sharp cutoff there across central Idaho and central Oregon and across southern portions there of some thunderstorm activity, and some of those try to creep a bit further north. There's going to be some erratic winds, as I mentioned, with that. And then we go on into the day Saturday, you can kind of see the spin in the atmosphere kicking off some storms again, and then on into Sunday, this will be continuing to push off to the east. Now, I want to look closely at this today. You can kind of see how these winds are a little bit squirrely looking. You see some of these easterlies and southeasterlies and southerly winds kind of meeting up with some of these northerlies. That's going to kind of be those outflow winds from some of the thunderstorms out there. So watch out for some blowing dust for across eastern Oregon. You can see the northerlies and the northeasterlies here across eastern Washington, Strait of Georgia, a bit of a westerly surge down the Strait of Juan de Fuca, some northerly winds down the Puget Sound as we go through tonight as well. And then as we go through tomorrow, you'll see the winds really kick up up here on the east slopes of the Cascades as we go through tomorrow afternoon and evening there. So heads up for that. It'll get a bit blustery with that activity here, as well as that low is now starting to kick off and it starts to increase the gradient and brings those westerly winds across the mountains. So looking at total precipitation in inches, of course, again, a big difference between what Oregon is getting versus BC and Washington. And then we go on in through Monday, and we start to watch that next system arrive into western British Columbia. It looks like the European wants to drop about the 0.3 of an inch for Seattle, much less for Portland there, and some decent amounts across some of Vancouver Island and some of western BC. Nothing too crazy, though. And artificial intelligence, we'll take a look off in towards next weekend. There goes our system that we're dealing with right now. And then this little wrinkle, that's Tuesday's frontal system there. That's all it takes for that one. And then we're going to have a ridge here as we go towards the end of next week. But by the time we get on in towards Saturday, you can see this trough is set up over the Pacific Northwest. And that's going to bring our next round of rainfall to the region. Then another ridge wants to build in after that. But again, looking a bit far off in the forecast, we'll see how that shapes up. And kind of an interesting retrograde there for that upper level low right across the southwest USA, if you saw that at the end of that run. Now, total precipitation in inches, I'm going to scroll through this fairly quickly. This is 15 days out, so you can see 1.3 for Seattle, maybe something similar there for Portland. And fairly rainy here for some of the interior mountain west here in Wyoming, Utah, Idaho, and Montana as well. And some of BC getting the lion's share of the precipitation there. But if you look at that as far as what is normal, this is a 15-day precipitation anomaly. You can kind of see that above normal signal there for some portions, eastern Washington, Oregon, but actually below normal here for some places west of the Cascades. Now, looking at daily 2-meter max temperature, this is for today, Friday, April 25th. Look at Seattle, 72 degrees. Look at this, getting into the mid-70s here, up into the Fraser River Valley, some 80s showing up for eastern Washington. And, of course, you got a lot more clouds across Oregon, so that's why things are going to be a bit cooler. But Boise warming up into the 70s as well. Look at Spokane, maybe 75 degrees today. And there's tomorrow. We cool things down a little bit, but still some 80s showing up for eastern Washington. Sunday, Monday, look at that. We really cool things down for western Washington as that next trough is starting to swing through there. Then we go through Tuesday, and then we start to bounce back again. Look at that Wednesday, 67 for Seattle. Back up towards 70 for western Oregon, maybe even warmer for some locations. And then Thursday, another very warm day here across the region as well. And then we go back to Friday, and then next weekend, it looks like it might start to get a little bit rainy for the following weekend. But again, that can change. That's a long ways out there. We'll worry about that as we get closer. Here's the 6 to 10 day above average. Kind of a mixed bag here, near normal across a lot of the region. The 6 to 10 day that goes out to May 4th. And something interesting with the subscribers, I think YouTube went through a bot cleaning period here as we went through about April 9th. You can see how we fell off from 97,932 to about 97,843. And I think maybe we finally came to an end of that bot cleaning program. I heard some people talking about that. There were some grumblings about it. But yeah, so it looks like we lost some subscribers because, you know, the bots will come in there and they have to clean them out at times. So kind of interesting. Plus it is the slow season as well, but not to worry. I'm sure once we start to get active again here, the subscribers will start jumping back up and maybe we hit the end of that. But anyway, yeah, what else? Click like and subscribe. We will do this all again tomorrow, and I will talk to you guys then.